Let's try that again. Hello, everybody. How are we all today? I got a haircut and a beard trim. It's much cleaner looking. I apologize for the very last minute nature of this whole spiel. That's just kind of the nature of things sometimes. And at the people's request, we are going to turn down the game volume just a smidge. And let's see. All right. So for our first matchup, we're actually going to have Falcon versus Zardoz Total War, which they're getting all set up. Yeah, I'll be casting the games. I'm not playing. I'm casting. So I hope you're all doing good today. I'm not going to bother using a screen blocker because, quite frankly, all of these games are, all these players. So if you missed the video, what makes this tournament a little unique is that all of the players have sent in their lists before the tournament started. So everyone has already committed their army. They've already picked their spells, their items. They don't know what their opponent was bringing. They didn't even know what map they were fighting on. Everything was a mystery, just like it is in Tabletop, where you'd write your army on a little program or on a piece of paper at home. You'd show up to your local game tournament and you'd put it on the table, and they'd say, "All right, you're on table 5. So and so, you're on table 5," and they would throw down your crap, and you're like, "All right, here we go." And that was just the nature of it. So, Zardoz is probably going to be just a minute, but when he gets in here, we will be all set to begin. And this is more of an experiment. So if we do another tournament like this in the future, if it goes well, then we might try messing with the rules. We might make the rules a little bit more like Tabletop. We might make it a little less. We might mess around with some things. I might get some map makers that I'm very friendly with to maybe make some custom maps for the tournament. I don't know. We'll play it by ear. But in any event, there's Zardoz. So I'll tell them, begin when ready. All right. And we're just gonna hop into it. Yes, we've got Future of the Beastmen is up next, and it will be out before the new year. So look forward to that. But I've got some really cool stuff to show you guys before then. We did something last evening with a number of players. No rush. Is it okay to donate? Yeah, if you'd like to donate and help me out and support the stream, I'd appreciate it. There's no prize pool for this. We're literally just experimenting with the format, so I didn't want to stress anybody out by putting monetary value behind it at the request of a few of the players. So we're not doing a donation pool for the winner. So don't think that that's what's happening here. Any donations are just to support the channel or whatever. That being said, whoever wins, maybe I'll buy him a drink or something. I will buy them a drink. That being said, I see a lot of people wanting an actual tabletop tournament. We'll talk. We'll talk. I hope you're all having a merry holiday. Whatever you celebrate, wherever you're at. And I've got food on the way, but I have someone else in my home grabbing it. And this is a very we're doing it live format. So if things go bump in the night, we'll deal. Tabletop tournaments take literal days. It's true. It's true. Let me double check. And I'm going to be double checking everybody's armies. Just make sure it's actually what they sent in. Not because I don't trust anybody, but we just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. Okay. Oh, we lost Ardar. It's okay. Just gives more people time to get in here. I should turn down the volume on my alerts. Undertaker, yeah, definitely, but that's, yeah, not now. Home Slicer donated $12 and says, Merry Christmas and thanks for the streams, videos. You're welcome, man. I appreciate your continued support. I'm happy to bring you guys stuff. Anyway, so the exciting thing that I wanted to kind of tell you guys about while we're just sitting around here waiting for a minute is that, so I have, I started a showcase roleplay of Warhammer Fantasy 4th Edition, and I recorded it last night. We had a 3-hour session, and the players you might be excited to hear are Turin, Lady Turin, or Anna, or That Evil Hag, Italian Spartacus, Gojira, and Professor Pone. And it was a riot. I recorded those. I recorded the whole session. I chopped it up into 3 roughly hour-long bits. And starting tomorrow, I will be posting 1 a day. So I hope you are all looking forward to that. It was an entertaining evening, to say the least. And for at least I don't know how often we'll be meeting, but we'll be meeting hopefully once a week. What were the races? You'll have to wait and see. You'll have to wait and see. Professor Pone. Yes, I hope no one rolled that way either. Which, for anyone that hasn't seen it, this is Warhammer Fantasy 4th Edition. I'm a nerd, and I got the collector's edition, of course. Which, this is actually a magnetized outside cover. This is the real book. It's nice and engraved. It's very fancy. It was a fun time. Oh, okay, we're going. All right, great, swell. It's on the way here. Alright, here we go. So we're doing Lizardmen versus Greenskins is this first matchup. And remember, they had no idea that was what their matchup was. So this is the first time they're aware of what races they're fighting. And this is the first time they knew what map they were fighting on, which we are at the River Amexon, which is a pretty fun map. I tried to pick maps that were fairly different from each other. I tried not to pick, like, nothing but Altdorf outskirt looking maps, you know, like Empire maps with like a little divot in the center and then forests on both sides. I tried to take us to different locales in the Warhammer world. So once everyone gets loaded in here, we'll start going over the armies. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with the Lizardmen here, who are under control of the wonderful Falcon. So he's got 2 units of Horned Ones, which is a pretty interesting choice considering that this is an all-comers list. So he's relying on some pretty heavy-hitting cav to do the job. They are vulnerable, of course, to Rampage, but he does have a Scar Veteran here with the Leadership debuff aura, which is pretty awesome, the Plaque of Dominion. So he can use Cold-Blooded to keep these guys under control if need be. He's also got 1 unit of Croxagors. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 units of Saurus Warriors with shields, a single unit of Temple Guard, and then 3 units of Skink cohorts with javelins, and a single Skink cohort without javelins. And then he's got a Slawn of the Lore of Light, And he brought Blood Statuette, Aura of Quetzal, and then he's got Foz Protection and Bjorn's Time Warp. So, pretty defensive build. It's very wide for a Lizardman army, which I really, really like. Not a lot of anti-large, though, so we'll see how that plays out for him. Meanwhile, over here on Zardoz Total War side, he's going by Merry Cringemas right now. He's being led by the true Hog Lord himself, Wurzag, who's got Fists of Gork, Here We Go, and Foot of Gork. So he's got all of the Gorka Morka ready to go. Oh, he's also got Gaze of Mork. So he's got most of his spells. He's got the Bonewood Staff and the Squiggly Beast. For his army, we've got the Night Goblin Regiment of Renown. This is the one with Fanatics. Then he's got 1 unit of regular goblins. Let's see, 1 unit of Orc Biggins, it looks like. Then he's got some Nasty Skulkers. Yep. He's got 2 units of Nasty Skulkers, 2 units of Black Orcs holding up his center line, a unit of Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers, ones that are not Archers, Morgrove's Mangy Marauders. He's got a Goblin Big Boss as a bodyguard. No, oh, these are Savage Orc Error Boys. Okay, so a little bit more defensive. And he's got another unit of Forest Goblin Spider Riders here. He's got all sorts of stuff. What a mishmash of an army. And then way over here, tucked away in the forest, he's got 2 units of Wolf Riders, 1 with bows, 1 without. And we have begun. So right away, those Wolf Riders have a long distance to cover before they're at anything meaningful, but this, there's no Lizardmen guarding the back line, so we'll see if they're going to be ready for that or not. Those Skinks could be vulnerable to backline fire, as could the Slon, but we'll see how that goes. A lot of this front line is stealth, because we've got Night Goblins, but not enough that it's probably going to cause any particular traps. So here we go, the Horn One Riders are coming into the forest. This could be dangerous for them because they don't have Forest Strider, so if they get caught out in this forest, they will take a significant penalty to their, I believe it's their melee attack and their speed. That being said, they're already coming out. A few get caught up on Biggins, which isn't too big of a deal, but they're already launching into these Forest Goblins. A smoke bomb does go down to go ahead and slow them down a bit. Wall has been popped nice and early. The Night Goblins have already connected, so they don't really get the benefit of the wall other than the melee attack, but the Black Orcs are going to get that lovely charge bonus. And of course, they're charging in and negating without having to worry about being countercharged by the Saurus. Some Croxgors do come in here against these Black Orcs. Night Goblins are already broken. These Black Orcs are heavily surrounded by both Croxgors and Temple Guard, who both have the Aura of Quetzal and upgraded Bjorn's Time Warp. So that is going to, those Black Orcs are going to get absolutely smashed. But the front line looks to be going okay. Oh, but there's a Foot of Gork. Does kill a couple of Temple Guard, not too many though. They actually didn't do as well as I thought. We got a Shield of the Old Ones going on here in the back line, trying to keep the leadership up of these Horned Ones and keep them alive. They are not doing super great in this engagement. Those Nasty Skulkers have high enough armor piercing that they are cutting through the heavy armor of the Horned One Riders, who they have 100 armor, which is pretty decent, but with Wurzag probably buffing them with Fists of Gork, it was only a matter of time before they fell apart. So the back line for the Lizardmen are looking okay. They're winning the front line pretty well. They've gotten through this first unit of Black Orcs, but another one with Here We Go and Fists of Gork, putting them in 106 melee attack, is coming in on the flank. The Lizardmen need to get rid of all these Black Orcs so they can dominate the front line. This Scar Veteran here is completely isolated against a Goblin Big Boss and these Nasty Skulkers, and he's got the Plaque of Dominion activated, which normally would be enough to break the Goblins thing to a sphere, but don't think it's going to be enough since he's completely isolated. The Slon is okay right now. Temple Guard are going into the back line, trying to get rid of these Savage Orc Air Boys. They really need to support that Scar Vet. If they can get in there and support that Scar Veteran and get him out of there, the Lizardmen could turn this in their favor. But right now, the balance of power is in the Greenskins' favor. Greenskins have totally forgotten about those Wolf Riders, it looks like, in the back. They have not moved at all, which is really bad, because that's about 1,000 points worth of units that would be very helpful at getting rid of all these fleeing skink units and making sure they don't come back, as well as these Horned One Riders. Right now, though, the Lizardmen seem to have completely bypassed the Scarvet, and he is broken up, but he is getting a little bit of support from these Saurus Riders here. Meanwhile, Wurzag is running to support these Black Orcs against the Slon, who's about at 30% health. He does have the Aura of Quetzal up, so his armor and melee defense is much higher. but he doesn't have any Croc Score supporting him. He barely has any Saurus Warriors. Say hi to Chloe, everybody. She's barking. This is looking pretty bad for the Lizardmen. Their command structure is falling apart. Oh, the Slon just got effigied of the Git. He's got those big old voodoo nails through him. So Wurzag's going to cut him to bits, especially with the Fist of Gork active. So his melee attack is much higher than the Slon's melee defense. That Slon is going down in a heap. And the instant that Slon goes down, the rest of the Lizardman army is almost entirely skinks at this point. There is one block of Saurus and Temple Guard that have pushed through the main line and are doing okay. But I don't think their leadership's going to be enough. I mean, those Wolf Riders, they are kind of just isolated in the back, and they're not helping out. But at the same time, they're preventing the Greenskins from getting anywhere close to army losses. With the Slon dead, he's poured it out, and with that, seems Zardar has not Zardar, but Falcon has gone ahead and surrendered the game. Great matchup. Looking at this post-battle real quick, it was a really close match. The Lizardman frontline did super well, but those continued casts of Fists of Gork and Here We Go just let the Greenskins slowly but surely push through. And even when the Lizardmen did win the front line, I think they went a little too far, pushing backwards. Great games. I think they just went a little too far past the front line when they probably should have supported and focused in on the Slon. So Slon got isolated and got spanked by the Pig Lord. All right, so that's it for the first match. Let's go ahead and hop over to the second one. All right, let's find it. Who's up next? I believe it is... Let me double check, just because some of them may have multiple things open. Alright, so next up is... Next up is Exploding Hamster versus Turin. Oop. All right, so let me take a quick drink of water. All right, we've got Vampire Coast versus Skaven. Street. Oh, I think he means for him. Okay. So, I hope y'all are looking forward to seeing Turin out and about. It's been a while since we've seen Turin play in a tournament, so this will be exciting. I think this format fits him better because it's not a ton of games. Arthur Dafos, yeah, man, you got to go with the OG Nakari. N''Kari. All right, chat, let's get into it. Who y'all rooting for? Who do y'all think is gonna win? Let me know. Are y'all supporting the shooty undead, or are you shorting the shooty rat boys? So let's take a quick look at Turin's army. We've got Count Noctilus up on his Transformer. I just forgot what that thing's called. Let's see. As for spells, all he has is Drown Dead, Invocation of the Heck. Then he's got all his items, or he's got his item in Race Storm. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 units of zombie deckhand mobs with a couple of chevrons sprinkled out. He's got 2 with pole arms. He's got the Black Spot, great regiment of renown with their anti-large armor piercing melee attacks and their charge defense against large. He's then got 2 units of regular depth guard, 2 units of regular handguns, I believe, or no, just 1. Yeah, 1 unit of zombies with handguns. Then he's got 2 units of fellbats, 2 units of scurvy dogs, and 3 units of deck droppers with handguns, who are of course really powerful unit that are actually getting notably debuffed in the upcoming patch. And then on the other side of the wonderfully golden monolith, we've got a unit of Skaven slaves with spears. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 units of Plague Monks. So many Plague Monks. 2 units of Skaven Slave Slingers. 1 more unit of Skaven Slaves, making a nice chaffy front line. We've then got... Oh, okay, we've got 2... Okay, so we actually have 3 units of Skaven Slaves with spears. They just haven't all been set out yet. And then we've got 3 units of Clan Rats with spears, one of which has a chevron, so tons of anti-large. We've also got a Hell Pit Abomination, which is kind of a must-have in the modern Skaven playbook. And then way out here, we've got 2 units of Gutter Runners with poison that are going to be doing some sneaky sneak, as well as these Scurvy Dogs doing some sneaky sneak. Then, speaking of sneaking around, we've got 2 Assassins who both have trophy heads. What's that other thing they have there? Oh yeah, Rival Had Talisman, of course. And then we've got Lord Skrulk, and Lord Skrulk's bringing to the party Pestilent Breath, Wither, Vermintide, and Pestilent Burst. So he's got most of the spell lore of Plague. So whenever these 2 are ready, we will begin. There's a lot of sneaking on this map. And this one's always kind of interesting because you have to kind of guess which side your opponent's going to deploy on. But it's good to have skirmishers here so you can kind of see over the hill. Alright, we've started, and of course they immediately see that they are on opposite sides of the Golden Monolith because both of them have forces up on the high ground so they can see each other. These Scurvy Dogs are immediately running into the Skaven army, but we'll see if the Skaven react very fast. Meanwhile, the Deck Droppers are already flying in to cause havoc, and the Skaven don't have a ton of answers. The Gutter Runners with poison haven't been noticed yet, I don't believe, so if they can get on the Deck Droppers, they can actually do some pretty substantial damage. The dogs did run in. They kind of got anticipated by some spears who will be more than capable of driving them off. That being said, I think Turin might just be trying to lure him out. The slaves and the Gutter Runners have already started exchanging with the Deck Droppers, who are probably going to be looking to either take some damage on the command structure or the Plague Monks. Plague Monks, of course, do have a little bit of resistance to it, thanks to their pretty notable physical resistance, but still, these guns hurt a lot. That being said, the Gutter Runners do a fair, about 5% of damage, it looks like, in a volley. So, we're going to have to see what's going on here. Looks like these Fellbats are being used to probably try and just muck up or get him to use ammo. These guys are mostly probably just here to distract or be annoying. I don't think they're actually going to accomplish too much. They can do a good job of holding down the gunner. Oh, here we go. Here's a good catch. The Gutter Runners are being held down by the Fellbats, and the dogs are running in to immediately take advantage, but they manage to pull back just in time, so they avoid any serious damage with the Plague Monks scaring off the dogs. It's not looking super great for Turin at the moment. The skirmish game is definitely not going as favorable for him, I would say. The Fellbats are about half dead, but the Deck Droppers are putting quite a bit of damage along with Noctilus on these Plague Monks. Looks like the Skaven Slave with spears have run into a summoned unit of zombies, and Noctilus is just firing with impunity. The Hell Pit has already lost about 1,000 health, it looks like, give or take. Oh, 1,500 health, actually. So, Turin's actually got some great mileage here. And, oh, the Skaven are rather bunched up, and a Ray Storm comes down. It looks like it doesn't make super great contact, but it did kill a lot of models. So, Noctilus has already got 28 kills under his belt. A Skaven Assassin is chasing him very, very hard, as is a Hell Pit Abomination. Skaven Assassin does not have... I don't think he has poisoned melee attacks, does he? No, so he's not going to be able to slow Noctilus. And now all of these handguns, as well as the Deck Dropper handguns, are tearing this Hell Pit apart. Oh my god. That thing just lost like 5k health in that was like a Thanos snap when it comes to losing health. Things are not looking great for Hamster. The Hell Pit does get his super regen, but it's a drop in the bucket. Oh, wait, nope, there it goes. Alright, so he's back up to 3k health, and his regen will continue building up, so he'll come back, more than likely. The Fellbats look like they're pretty much out of commission, but one of the Skaven Slave Slinger units is gone. Looks like the Skaven are really trying to just get up this hill and get engaged with the Vampire Coast. They need to get engaged with the Vampire Coast. The Fellbats are chasing off the Hell Pit, so he's gone. He's not coming back. Unless the Skaven have a way to get rid of those Fellbats, they will easily just guide him off the battlefield. Yeah, these Deck Droppers are just getting so much done, and the meat of the Vampire Coast army hasn't even been engaged in combat yet. This is definitely not going to be a short battle, I'll tell you that. Looks like these scurvy dogs are just kind of looking for places where they can be annoying. At this point, they're doing a great job of just trying to delay the Skaven from getting to the front line. I don't think it really matters for Turin how much damage these little annoying type of units take. He's using these summons as well as his front line to just delay the Skaven army as much as possible to make sure that when and if they do make it to his front line, they won't be strong enough to deal with, like, the Depth Guard, for instance. That being said, the Hellpit Abomination has rallied, and he is putting a whooping on these bats, but Noctilus is still shooting at him with his quadruple-barreled cannon, as are these deck droppers. The Hellpit might be able to finish off these Fellbats, but I don't think he's going to be able to contribute too much to the battlefield outside of that. Here, the battlefield is continuing to be a little crazy. Looks like Noctilus has eaten a few Liber Bubonicuses, probably just one so far. There goes down the first of the Rival High Talismans, knocking the Depth Guard's melee attack down to 0, so they are going to be doing absolutely no damage. That being said, though, they do still have their Bloodthirst, so they're going to be healing while they're in close combat, but the Plague Monks should be able to tear them apart in that particular little engagement. The Skaven are starting to make some headway in the front line. Looks like the other group of Death Guard is engaged against some Plague Monks. More Plague Monks have come out here up against the Deckhand mob with polearms. Noctilus definitely wants to stay in the back. These double assassins can kill him if they get too close. The Skaven line is now fully engaged. The Hellpit Abomination has fallen somewhere. I'm not sure where he went down, or if he ran off the battlefield. Should be back. Oh, he's right there. Those Skaven slaves popped out of his gut. So yeah, he's dead back there. Those Skaven slaves would be useful if they could run up just to add more numbers to the battle. Here, the Depth Guard are slowly starting to fall apart. The Wither will reduce their armor. Really nice Plague Breath there by Lord Skrulk. Really nice job. That did quite a bit of damage. This assassin is probably trying to find a home. That being said, he needs to hurry up and get involved somewhere. Standing in front of a gunnery mob is not where you want to be, because they will last samurai him super hard, I think is how Turin likes to call it. Here, looks like this main unit of Death Guard, they do have an Overcast Invocation of the Heck on them. I don't know if that's going to save them. Their leadership is stabilized. Let's see, down to -1. They are starting to degenerate. It looks like that unit's probably going to fall apart. I don't know. This is... Balance of power is still fairly even. It looks like it's a little bit in Turin's favor. Just a bit. But Turin is still pretty heavily outnumbered. The Skaven are doing their usual tactic of they run away, come back, run away, come back. Here are some Plague Monks trying to get into these gunnery mobs, but Turin does an excellent summon to block them so that the guns can get away. Oh, but over here, the black spot has been compromised by a unit of Clan Rats summoned by Lord Skrulk, who is coming in, and he wants Noctilus. He wants him so bad. I don't know who actually would win in that particular little engagement. We do have a full health unit of Depth Guard back here, but the Assassin's jumping on them to do some damage. Skrulk has jumped in here and unleashed the Rod of Corruption, and it's going to do a fair amount of damage to this gunnery mob, and that will cause them to collapse if anything jumps on them in close combat. Black Spot are getting overwhelmed. Another Liber Buponicus hit Noctilus and is bringing him down. A assassin who had a concealment bomb on him comes up and hits him in the back, which means his melee defense is going to be zip. So, oh, man, that did a ton of damage. There goes the right... Oh, he's got trophy heads on him. Oh, that sneaky assassin. Oh, that assassin. Okay, Skrulk's in here now trying to wail on him. He does have an Invocation of the Heck, trying to keep his leadership up, and he does regenerate in close combat. I don't know. It looks like the Skaven are starting to turn this around. They really don't have a way to deal with the handguns, but the handguns are almost out of ammo, and there is still a ton of Skaven running around the battlefield. Looks like the gunnery mobs have all been compromised and are pretty much offline. The Black Spot might be able to get away if those deck droppers are willing to commit once they're out of ammo. The backline, the Skaven still does have a couple of interesting units. They've still got some Plague Monks, bunch of Clan Rats still. There's still a whole nother Assassin. They're running around. Basically, this boils down to can Turin keep Noctilus safe. Alright, so Noctilus has dropped to his halfway point, so he has went ahead and summoned a unit, which you can see down here. I don't know if he's running the right direction, though. He's running straight into this assassin away from these units that he needs to protect him. Oh, wait, he's got some Depth Guard bodyguard. That'll do the trick. Alright, so he's managed to run through the Depth Guard, who are going to immediately start just casually shooting people in the face. So the hero squad is backing away from these depth guard a bit. Looks like they have seen a little way they can slip through those, so they pop through there. So really comes down to, can the Skaven keep this hero squad safe from Noctilus until they can kill him? And I don't know, those deck droppers are going to start coming in and messing with their leadership. You can see this assassin is terrified because of Noctilus and being so heavily outnumbered, because something a lot of people don't take into account when they unleash heroes into the middle of the battle like this is that characters take significant leadership penalties if they are surrounded. You know, they'll be like, oh, I'm surrounded by bigger, stronger enemies. That's spooky. That being said, a summoned unit of clan rats does come out here. Unfortunately, though, summoned clan rats are not unbreakable. So they come out and almost immediately give in to terror and are getting the heck out of dodge. Looks like the assassin and Skrulk are going to try and pull back, rally, get with most of their army. But Noctilus is fairly quick on top of that thing, and his attacks are more than capable of knocking Skrulk over. And with Skrulk broken, these deck droppers are going to swoop in and just be a constant annoyance. Like, they are just going to be up. Skrulk does rally momentarily, but he does pop Stand Your Ground and the Rod of Corruption, which is going to do some damage, but there's just a full health unit of Depth Guard right there. If the Skaven can get over to Skrulk, they might have a chance to turn this around, but this is looking not good for the Skaven. He's already used both of his Liber Bubonicus's, so he's out of that. Trophy Heads does go down on Noctilus, so Noctilus does not have the ability to hit Skrulk right now. The Depth Guard have gotten wrapped up on one of the Assassins. I don't know if that's good or bad. You can see it either way. Another Assassin runs in on Noctilus and hits him for a couple hundred damage. He is trying desperately to heal, but looks like the Wounded Assassin did manage to get to the rest of the Skaven army, who is going to come plowing into Noctilus now. The only thing standing between the Skaven and victory is these Depth Guard, in my opinion. Oh, this is really close. This is really close. Skrulk is a little isolated, but he's got backup, and the only thing on him are depth. Well, he did have backup, but those Gunner Runners just shattered. That being said, Skrulk can beat deck droppers in hand-to-hand fairly easily. Looks like most of the Skaven army is pulling back, trying to rally around something. They're starting to shatter, which that's the problem with Skaven. When your army starts to shatter, that's big old contingents of it that just aren't coming back. Looks like Exploding Hamster has already handed off the GG. That being said, yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. There's still a almost full health unit of Depth Guard. They still got 40 models left. Noctilus still has about half his health left and isn't at his healing cap. And the Skaven are slowly but surely starting to shatter. Every time they're breaking now, they're essentially breaking permanently and not coming back. What a crazy game, though. Exploding Hamster definitely making an excellent show. I mean, we already knew he was a fairly competent and excellent player, seeing as he won one of Turin's Pieces of 8 for the Eternal Challenger League. But still, what a great game. You know, considering that neither of these guys had the opportunity to counter one another, their armies did a really good job of just constantly going back and forth. This battle's still going, though. Man, what a hell of a quarterfinal. Well, I hope the rest of this tournament... I don't know if the rest of this tournament's going to be this intense or not. The Skaven are still fighting. The Depth Guard are fully surrounded now, and they've got Plague Monks on them. If Skrulk can just keep popping out Rods of Corruption, and those Assassins can keep throwing down Trophy Heads, then Noctilus could be in trouble. Oh, okay, the last Assassin is gone now, so no more Trophy Heads. You know, personally, I almost think that it might have been better to put the Trophy Heads on the Depth Guard to have their melee... Well, can you only use Trophy Heads on characters? Might be able to only use it on characters. Let's take a little look-see. Assassin, Trophy Heads. Ah, yeah, it's characters only. All right, and the battle is finally gone in favor of the Vampire Coast. What a game. I mean, considering that Vampire Coast is probably considered by most to be the best faction in the game, or one of the best, and Skaven are considered the worst, bar none. I mean, damn. What a showing from Exploding Hamster. What a great game. Honestly, I think what that came down to was Turin getting the Hell Pit Abomination out of the game and out of the way. If that Hell Pit Abomination hadn't been taken out so early, I think the Skaven would have won this. 336 kills on that unit of Depth Guard. Damn. What a game, though. Amazing. That was incredible. Hope one of y'all saved that. All right, and with that, we are on to the third game. Turin. I feel like Turin's like instantly boned from that game. Ah. Ah. Oh, they don't have a spectator slot for me. One moment. What a game. What a amazing game. Alright, so someone open spectator slot, please. God, what a match. That was amazing. Alright, so we will check back in with Zardoz Total War and Turin for the semifinals. And as soon as these guys let me in, alright. Yeah, Turin does need a power claw. Alright, and this is the third game, and we're going to Kelp and Coal Dust in the Empire. Ready when y'all are. Oh, wait. Third game. So we're with Shadow Online Gaming and Gojira. That's right. Shetland's last. Okay. I got my order messed up. We got Skaven versus Greenskins. So we got a battle of the evil underground races. Yeah, I think Turin is Nicholas von Karstein in our world, which is Count Noctilus's real name. Well, it's his vampire name, which is probably not actually his name. I don't know what Noctilus's name was before he became a vampire. Yeah, storm vermin are very expensive. Yeah, they should probably be cheaper. I mean, there's a lot of them, but their leadership is so bad. Are the Wood Elf units... I've silenced a couple. Not a lot, though. The Wood Elf roster is pretty much complete. There are some things they could throw into it, but... Why is this called the Tabletop Tournament? The reason this is called the Tabletop Tournament is because all of the players had to make their list with a tabletop format, in that they did not know what map they would be playing on, who their opponent would be, or what army their opponent would be bringing until they show up on the battlefield. So you had to make your army in advance and send it to the organizer, me, to get approved, and then I mix up the brackets and they fight. I need to quit shouting. It's messing up my throat. Alright, so let's look at the Skaven here. For the Skaven, we've got... let's see. So many of them. We've got 2 units of Storm Vermin with halberds. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of Clan Rats with shields. We've got 2 units of Clan Rats with spears. We've got 2 units of Night Runners with slings, so fairly elite little shooting bunch there. We've got a Plague Claw Catapult, which is going to make excellent use of this hill. We've also got 3 units of Rat Ogres, and then a regular Skaven Warlord on foot, though he does have the Shield of Distraction to be constantly debuffing the melee attack of nearby enemies. Then we've got a Warlock Engineer who let's see, we got a Warlock Engineer with Warp Shard Armor and Warp Lightning, and a Plague Priest with Wither and Vermintide. So pretty interesting army coming from Shadow Online Gaming. Over here for Gojira, we've got Azhag the Slaughterer. And he's bringing to the party Spirit Leech, Soul Blight, the dreaded Fate of Buna. He also has a Night Goblin Shaman down on the field who looks like he's purely acting as a Lord Sniper. So we've got Vindictive Glare. Gork will fix it, though. Wand of Jet and Madcap Mushrooms. But between the Vindictive Glare and the Spirit Leech, that is a lot of character snipe potential. Yes, these are all best of one. Yep. And it's because this is more of an experiment tournament. And we started pretty late in the day, so I wanted to just kind of get everybody in and out, especially the Europeans. Out here on the flanks, we've got 2 units of Forest Goblin Spider Riders. Then for the front line, we've got Orc Biggins, Black Orcs, Savage Orcs, Black Orcs. So we got 2 units of Biggins, 2 units of Black Orcs, and a unit of Savage Orcs in the center. Then we've got the Broken Tusk Mob. Start when ready. We got the Broken Tusk Mob, 1 unit of Nasty Skulkers helping guard the back line, a unit of Savage Orc Error Boys, the Rusty Errors. So very, very fierce army from Gojira here. Gork or Mork? I've always been more partial to Mork. Turin, that was a awesome game, by the way. That was such a great game. Man, I gotta y'all put on a hell of a performance there. All right, and we're off. All right, so the Skaven are already immediately running across the battlefield, despite the fact that they do have the ranged advantage. The Spider Riders are starting to go ahead and sneak around the back. Oh, and back here we've got Morgoth's Mangy Marauders and another unit of Spider Riders, all barreling down on the back line of the Skaven. I don't know if the Skaven have seen it yet. Okay, it looks like he has seen it because he's pulling back the Rat Ogres to deal with it. This Skaven front line needs that Rat Ogre support, though. They're going to get smashed by those Black Orcs. Alright, so the Plague Claw Catapult is already firing in on the Black Orcs, doing some great starter damage. Looks like the Rat Ogres are trying to peel off to the flanks to do some damage, though they need to be careful that they don't get too close to these Broken Tusk Mob, because these Orc Boar Boy Biggins will mess them up. The front lines have completely crashed. No wall popped yet, so I'm not sure what he's waiting for on that. Kind of missed out on a good wall there. Broken Tusk Mob is coming in on these Rat Ogres, and the Rat Ogres are not pulling back. Okay, so they're going to get a mutual charge. Wow, the Rat Ogres did a ton of damage. Holy crap. Never mind. They are absolutely smashing the Broken Tusk Mob. Wow, okay, I was totally wrong on that. That's why it's good for me to be doing this. I'm learning. Alright, we do have a Wither going down on some of the Black Orcs, which is going to reduce their armor. I don't think that's going to help a ton. The Storm Vermin might be able to make some mileage, but the Rat Ogres absolutely smashed this left flank. Warp Lightnings are already starting to descend, doing a bunch of damage to the Nasty Skulkers, who are already about half health. One of the Rat Ogre units is taking quite a bit of damage from the Rusty Errors, but their armor-piercing bonus effect is not going to avail them at all in this particular matchup. Oh, there were 2 units of Rat... Oh, there were 4 units of Rat Ogres, because there's 2 over here and 2 over here. That being said, oh, wow, look at this. All this shooting attacks coming in from these Forest Goblin Spider Riders have turned the tide here, and that wall popped with the Orc Biggins came running over here and slammed into the Rat Ogres, absolutely disintegrating them. The Skaven front line is completely buckled, and now that Wah's been popped, the Orcs are just gleefully running across the battlefield, killing as is their wont. And the Skaven army is pretty much kind of gone. Azag's just flying around doing whatever he wants. He's dropping Spirit Leeches like nobody's business. Looks like the Night Goblin has been compromised by the Warlock Engineer. At least I thought that until a Rat Ogre seemed to have apparently punted him. The Skaven are rallying, but they're fighting so close to the edge that Greenskins and Skaven both tend to be the type of armies that break, come back, break, come back. But it looks like in this case, this is actually working out more in the Greenskins' favor, because the Skaven are tending to run off to the left, and the Greenskins have lost a couple units. Like they lost the Broken Tusk Mob that way, but you know, by that point the Orcs have usually already spent a lot of their power. Forest Goblin Spider Riders are doing okay in the forest. I believe they do have Forest Striders, so this isn't necessarily a bad place for them to fight, though certainly not great. More Warp Lightning Cannons, or more Warp Lightning Blasts going down, absolutely wrecking that bunch of Orcs there. But over here, the play call catapult is offline. Clan Rat should be able to beat back the Forest Spider Riders, but I don't know if they'll be able to do much outside of that. Oh, that sounds like a Fate of Buna. Yep, Fate of Buna has gone down these Clan Rats with spears, which is really bad for the Skaven. This is one of the few pockets they seem to be doing okay in. Azag swoops in and looks like he takes a couple hundred damage off the Warlord with 2 big bites right in a row. These Black Orcs are still at about half health, but they still have most of their unit models, so they're going to be doing a ton of damage. The Warlord has broken. He needs to rally or the Skaven line is just going to fall apart. But it looks like the Skaven, for the most part, are collapsing and they shatter, and that's game. Oof. Brutal, brutal quick match. Gojira just kind of went in with the laser scalpel. He just took out each of the Skaven commanders one by one using that Spirit Leech Vindictive Glare combo. And the Skaven, with the Skaven leadership gone, the Rat Ogre charges were really, really solid. But Goji waited until the Rat Ogres were committed, and then he popped Wah, and the two Orc Biggin units both went like this to the outside to hit those Rat Ogres. That was a bloody, brutal affair. Swift and deadly. Swift and deadly. Oh, zoom in a little more? Okay, duly noted. Zlatkovic. Thank you for the feedback. Alright, yeah, my camera work probably needs a lot of adjusting. We're on to the final quarterfinal match. So here, we've got Shetland Apache versus Flying Taco. Tomb Kings versus Greenskins. As you can see, the Greenskins were the most picked faction today, followed by Skaven. It was a good match. It just, Goji aimed for the Skaven's weak points and absolutely tore them apart because of it. He took out the command structure, and then he popped his Wah and had the Orc Biggins fan out to deal with the Rat Ogres. Once the Rat Ogres were off the table, because honestly, the Skaven were doing much better on that initial charge, but they didn't have a way to get Azhag out of the sky. No humans today? Well, Tomb Kings are kind of human. they're just dead humans. All right. So, let's take a look here. For the Greenskins, this is actually my favorite army in the tournament because it's a thematic army. It's a pure Savage Orc based army. So you've got Wurzag, of course, leading it with, looks like Foot of Gork, Here We Go, and Fists of Gork. Then we've got 2 units of Savage Orc Biggins, 4 units of regular Savage Orcs, 2 units of Savage Orc Error Boys, 2 units of Savage Orc Boar Boys, 1 Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins, and a Giant, which we'll call a Savage Giant, just to make it appropriate. And then over here on the Tomb King side, we've got 2 units of Tomb Guard with Halberds, double Necrotect leading 2 contingents of Ushabti. Way back here, where it's safe and sound, we've got 2 Tomb Scorpions, 2 units of Skeleton Horseman Archers, and then leading the whole party, we've got Cetra the Imperishable on his lovely Sphinx. And he's got, okay, he only has 2 spells, Neru's Incantation of Protection and Joff's Incantation of Cursed Blades. Very efficient spells, though. Then we've got a bunch of units, looks like 5 units of Skeleton Warriors with a single Chevron. Pretty interesting deployment here. Go and ready. And let's get this party started. Oh, also, we got some trolls. Can't forget the trolls. Alright, so they've started. Horse archers are already running off to the flank to see what, probably do what they can to put some arrows in the back of all these orcs. Not 100% sure how the orcs are going to best be able to deal with this. I mean, they do have archers, which can counter skirmish. Looks like the Greenskins are completely changing focus. Probably wanting to focus more on this pocket of elite troops and ignore this larger army of spread out troops. I'm wondering what Shetland was necessarily going for here. It's going to take these Skeleton Warriors a while to redeploy. The Orcs are much, much faster movement-wise. They've got their 37 speed as opposed to 28. The Archers have already started to fire into these Savage Orcs. They do have physical resistance, which will provide them with a little bit of defense, but Wurzag's not close enough to be giving them his painted bonus, so this unit is only getting that 25% mitigation, and other than that, it's going to be taking quite a bit of damage. The Tomb Scorpions look like they are about ready to dive in. They do need to be careful, though, because there are some biggins hidden amongst this little legion. Right now, it looks like the Tomb Kings are perfectly fine, kiting a bit and just doing some pretty good damage. Wurzag would probably be better suited redeploying over to where the shooting attacks are going. That way, he's adding his war paint bonus to them, because Wurzag gives an additional 6% physical resistance so long as he's close to you. Here, the Savage Orc Arrow Boys have started to exchange fire, and we've already got our first big charge here. Savage Orcs look like they're going to get their charges. Looks like the Skeleton Warriors were not issued charge orders, though, so they just sort of awkwardly waddled in there. Over here, the Savage Orc Boars are all going to slam into these skeletons and pretty much disintegrate them on contact, it looks like. But here we go. The main hors d'oeuvres are now coming in. We've got the Tomb Scorpions controlled by their Lich Priests coming in. They're going up against the Giant and the Trolls along with Wurzag. That Giant will destroy them if they're not careful. Meanwhile, we've got Cetra the Imperishable, a little bit overwhelmed. He's going up against Savage Orc Biggins and then 2 units of Boar Boys. He needs to be very careful. Those Boar Boys are heavy enough to lock him down. These Savage Orcs looks like they're running off to the side, and they're just locking up all of these spear units to hopefully prevent them from reinforcing. You can see the Giant is doing perfectly well. The Tomb Kings need to get their archers into that Giant, or he is going to annihilate them. He's got 150 melee attack. Nice fat foot of Gork here. Does a ton of damage to the Tomb Guard. Kind of misses the Ushabti a little bit, unfortunately. The Greenskins are starting to run away due to terror thanks to the reinforcement of the Ushabti, but things are going much better for the Orcs over here. They've already killed off all of these Skeleton Warriors, and the Giants are and the Trolls, along with the Boar Boy Biggins, are absolutely smashing all these lads down here. These Scorpions are not going to have a good time. You can see they're trying to pull out, but the weight's just too high, I think. We've got a Realm of Souls proc going off. A lot of the Greenskins have fallen back, but they are clearly rallying, and they're already charging back in, coming after Cetra. Looks like the Ushabti did pull back to try and reinforce into this flank. Those Scorpions are having kind of a bad time. This Giant is kind of the crux of the Tomb King army, though. If the Tomb Kings do not take down this Giant can't get those halberds on the Giant, things are going to get rough. Cetra and the Tomb Scorpions are causing plenty of terror checks because a lot of these Savage Orcs' leadership has gotten, these Boar Boy Biggins, their leadership's gotten low enough that they're no longer immune to psych. But here we go, has popped, and the Giant comes in and hits Cetra for a crap load of damage. Oh, but he got knocked over. Oh, that is rough. Okay, Ushabti have been summoned back here and are going to be going after the Savage Orc Arrow Boys. Savage Orc Arrow Boys are not the biggest slouches in a fight, though. They will be able to hold their own for a little bit. The Giant has gotten Cetra down to half health, and Cetra's got Dajaz's Incantation out, but he doesn't have the anti-large version on himself, so he's not going to be able to duel that Giant very efficiently. He is pulling back. The Tomb Kings are doing pretty reasonable at seeing off a lot of these Savage Orc units, but they just keep rallying and coming back and rallying and coming back. Looks like Wurzag has almost taken out one of these Sphinxes. The double Necrotechs are doing their best to keep Cetra alive, as they are going to be providing him with a pretty substantial physical resistance bonus. And they, of course, have the ability to heal the Tomb Scorpions, which you can see in that their health. You can already see there's a restore going off on this one, putting him back together. This super contingent of Halberds and Ushabti does now have the Giant surrounded. This is exactly what they needed, to get this Giant surrounded enough that they could just consistently keep hammering him with damage. And the Greenskins don't have anything with high enough leadership to really sit in this pocket and just protect them. Because you can see these Savage Orcs, a lot of them have lost their Frenzy bonus, and without Frenzy, they're not immune to Psych. so that terror is going to be scaring a lot of them off. These skeleton warriors are just being annoying back here, trying to keep the shooting units from shooting. Cetra's terror has seen off most threats, and the balance of power is starting to swing in favor of the Tomb Kings. The trolls have broken, and these horse rider archers are committed to chasing them off the battlefield. But the trolls have rallied, so they might come back. Oh, really nice catch here with the effigy of the Git, which is going to do some considerable damage to Cetra. And these Savage Orc Boar Boys charge in on him. Unfortunately, they're not biggins, though, so they're not going to get the best mileage out of it. Incantation, upgrading goes down, so that 44% physical resistance is going to make Cetra basically immune to damage for a little bit. Unless a Fist of Gork goes down to give magic damage. You can see here, this giant's completely surrounded by halberds. He needs to get out of here and have regular orcs take that engagement instead. Ushabti run in, scare off a lot of these orcs. And the Cetra does go in on Wurzag with the double Scorpion. He needs to get Wurzag off the battlefield, who has popped Wah and has a very, very high melee attack of 97 with magic damage. He could actually be pretty threatening if Cetra and the Scorpions aren't careful. Oh, in comes the giant from behind. He's getting held up by these skeletons, though. One of the Scorpions is looking a little low, but doing okay so far. All the Greenskins do victoriously charge back in, and we've got a duel of the Titans here between the Giant and Cetra. The Giant is immune to terror since he causes terror, so he can actually go toe-to-toe here, but his leadership is starting to crack. And he is broken, so the Giant is leaving. Wurzag is on the Cetra like stink on orcish things. The trolls do charge in here, are going to tear up these archers, so they do have Cetra supporting. Wurzag is continuing to pursue and be a nuisance, and things are looking pretty bad for the Greenskins here. Don't know if Flying Taco is going to be able to pull this back with his thematic army, which is unfortunately just like it would happen in Tabletop. If you play a super thematic army, your army's super cool looking, but unfortunately, it tends to really struggle in most matchups. Yeah, Wurzag's really the only thing holding the orcs together at this point. And all of that healing being provided by the Realm of Souls and the double Necrotect is just making these Tomb Scorpions so tanky. Like, they have lost so much health, but the orcs just don't have enough anti-large to consistently deal with them on top of holding off all of these halberds. And it looks like, yep, Wurzag's terrified, and without his leadership to hold up the Greenskins, they will shatter. Great game, though. Great game. Flying Taco put up an excellent fight. And there were a couple times it looked like he really had it, but Shetland did a really good job of any time his lord got surrounded, he immediately reinforced with that death pocket of the double Ushabti and Tomb Guard. They just stuck together with the double Necropex, and they just moved from point to point on the battlefield and managed to slowly but surely take them out. Alright, so we're going to take a quick 5-minute break so I can grab something real quick, and then we will be hopping into the semifinals. So I'm just going to throw up the screen blocker here for just a second and play some random piece of music for you guys. I will be right back. Oops, I forgot to turn the music up for y'all. And thanks to the YouTube channel MFY for providing royalty-free music. I really appreciate it. Oh, right. Maps for the next round. Okay, so... 1 second, guys. Turin and... See, for Turin, it's... they will be off to the Tower of Hoeth. And then Shetland, y'all's game will be there. All right, and let's hop into it as soon as I turn off the screen blocker. Boop. And the first matchup is Zardoz versus Turin. And we are on Tower of Hoeth. Tower of Hoeth map. Alright, and the best part is I don't have to go over the armies again, because with this tabletop format, they have to use the same armies. So it makes my job even easier. Oh, we lost Zardoz for a second. So sorry. Zardoz's been hitting the sweet nectar a bit. All right, let's go. Am I excited for the Wild Hogs playoffs? Lich King, I am excited. I'm just amazed my all-Beastman team made it. Quite frankly. I am amazed they made it. Oh yeah, Anthony, I'll go over them again, of course. Alright, so let's get this party started. Again. So welcome to the semifinals. First match will be up on the Tower of Hoeth. And just a quick reminder of armies. Turin has 3 units of deck droppers with handguns, 2 units of fellbats, I believe 4 units, of zombie pirate deckhand mobs as a screen. He also has 2 zombie pirate deckhand mobs with polearms for anti-large, 2 units of regular depth guard for his high damage and armored bodyguard, 2 units of scurvy dogs to run interference, a single unit of zombie pirate gunnery mobs with handguns, and the Regiment of Renown version, the Black Spot. And then, of course, he has Count Noctilus with a summons with the Drowned Dead and Invocation of Nehek. Meanwhile, over on Zardoz Total War side, we have the Mishmash Army, as I'm coming to call it. We have 2 units of Forest Goblin Spider Riders. We have 3 units of Savage Orc Error Boys, 2 units of Black Orcs, 1 unit of Goblins, 2 units of... Nope, 1 unit of Orc Biggins, the Regiment of Renowned Night Goblin Fanatics, 1 unit of Night Goblins, and 2 units of Nasty Skulkers. And then, of course, for his leadership, we have a Goblin Big Boss and the ever-popular a Wurzag. I think the greenskins will be hard-pressed to deal with all of that flying snipe ability. They don't really have a super efficient spell to deal with it. He does have Gaze of Mork, but he doesn't have his mask. I'm surprised no one's tried that build yet. Has anyone ever tried taking Gaze of Mork with Wurzag and then taking his mask, which has the goblin version, and just like spamming it against an enemy character? Does that work? All right, so right out of the gate, the scurvy dogs. Nobody's in the forest, interestingly enough, for either side. Oh wait, no, that's not true. We've got Morgoth's Magi Marauders, Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers, and 2 units of Goblin Wolf Riders in the forest coming up behind the Vampire Coast, but I imagine Turin will be wise to such schemes. We see the first unit of Scurvy Dogs has already gotten in the background. We have our first unit of summoned troops just trying to be annoying. The Scurvy Dogs do run into the Savage Rock Airboys and actually do a ton of damage on the charge. But Savage Rock Airboys are capable of defending... Oh, that's because they're facing the wrong way. Okay, that's why. So the Scurvy Dogs are probably dead now because the... Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, they're super dead. Because they got sandwiched between those 2 units. Though if the Savage Rock Airboys had been facing this way, they would have taken a lot less damage because their melee defense would have been higher. Here you can see the Fellbats tried to get into these Airboys but got torn apart by the Forest Goblin Spider Riders. Those bats look like they're probably going to disintegrate to their death. It'll be a miracle if they don't. Some of the Scurvy Dogs are running into the forest to potentially scout around a little bit, but Turin should be able to see these Wolf Riders now. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to respond to them in time. We see that the bats are absolutely annihilating the Black Orcs. They are just doing a ton of damage. Also with Noctilus's cannon help, of course. So this Black Orc unit is basically on its way out to pasture. You can see the Fellbats have once again committed to the Archers. This one, the Archers should be able to defeat it on their own, especially if they go to melee stance. But there are Forest Goblin Spider Riders coming to reinforce. Scurvy Dogs are hiding in the forest, but I think Zardoz is trying a little too hard to scout out the forest, instead of realizing probably that this is Turin's full force. Understandably, though, Turin is known for being sneaky. Okay, this Black Orc unit's basically gone. They're only at about 5% health. I'd probably say 10% health and 50% of their model strength. They're useless now. They are immune to Psych, so if they come back, they might be able to do some damage. But looks like Zardoz is unfortunately spending on a rough amount of ammo on this summoned unit. This unit is not worth using ammo on. He should probably just be worrying about shooting the deck droppers, or at least shooting Noctilus, if nothing else. You can see the Goblin Big Boss ate a ton of missile fire and is already down to about 80% of his max health. We have some ranged units that came around here that are trying to do some damage to the depth guard, but the black spot has handguns, and that's just going to hit way harder. The greenskins almost have a full surround going on Turin's army, but of course he is able to just summon more zombies to make up for any holes he has. You can see here that the Black Orcs have rallied, but this other unit is already down to half health. Savage Orcs are fighting in melee combat. The Night Goblins are already down to about 75% health, and this Goblin Big Boss is about to get deleted. Oof. Oh, those handguns. I am glad they are getting nerfed. Who's battling out? The Greenskins is Zardoz Total War, the Australian. And then over here we have, from the resident USA, we've got Turin himself playing. Turin gets down another really solid summon here, just blocking up any gaps, making getting to Noctilus pretty much impossible right now. These Wolf Riders do manage to sneak around the back. I'm not sure where they're going to go. Looks like they're slamming into these zombie pirates. They're trying to get rid of this unit of handguns, but of course the black spot is still unengaged, and they're just going to melt anything that comes within shooting range. The black spot has to be taken offline, or else the greenskins are not going to stand a chance. Wurzag is down to about 50% health, and the deck droppers, I mean, a full volley from these 3 units of deck droppers literally does about 20% health, if not more than that. So Wurzag is already broken. He will be back, of course. Thankfully, there's no Fellbats to make sure he runs all the way off the battlefield, but balance of power is swinging in the Vampire Coast's favor, and I am fairly certain that the Greenskins are pretty much doomed. So, well, I'll answer that in just a minute, Thorstein, as soon as we get through this game. So we do have the Wolf Riders trying to do what they can to take out the Death Guard. Death Guard have taken actually a fair amount of damage from these Force Goblin Spider Riders, and Wolf Riders just coming in being a nuisance. Fortunately, this other group of Death Guard has run really far away to chase off these nasty Skulkers. And although these Deck Droppers, these guys are caught in a crossfire between these two archer units, and they're taking a ton of damage. This is great. This is what needed to happen a lot earlier. Unfortunately, they've already shattered one of the leadership units. Wurzag has already been knocked down to about 10% of his health, maybe 5% of his health. He's just not looking good. So it looks like one of the Deck Dropper units is down, but the back line of the Vampire Coast is still in perfect health for the most part. You know, they still got the Black Spot with tons of ammo left. Noctilus is still at full health, and he is a monster to kill due to all of his regeneration spells and abilities. And he probably still has 1 or 2 summons left. Actually, based on the fact he's spam casting Invocation of the Heck, maybe not. These Black Arcs are doing a great job chopping through the Death Guard and are making mincemeat of them. Looks like we have a... Is that a Foot of Gork? Yep. Well, okay, those Death Guard are gone. Alright, so the Death Guard have been completely obliterated on that flank. Here, these riding units have rode in, probably trying to put on some damage onto either Noctilus or the Deck Droppers. Oh, Noctilus uses his Storm down on Wurzag, and oh, Wurzag gets hit by a cannonball by Noctilus and gets de-pigged. So, with the leadership gone, there's very little question that this is it for the Greenskins. Like, they don't have a lot of immune to psych units. Yep, and there all the army losses are starting to kick in, and that is it. Another win for Turin. Oh, he's got some... Yeah, he's got some unbreakable Night Goblins. Still fighting here on the battlefield. Another great game from Turin, showing, you know, why he's kind of the king of the multiplayer scene, or at least the face of it, if nothing else. Yeah, those goblins are having a bad day. Yeah, the Deck Droppers are getting nerfed in the upcoming patch. Ah, look, Fanatics! Alright, so we will see Turin in the finals in just a little bit. Sorry, I keep having to scratch my nose, guys. We are having, due to the weather changes, Texas, or the DFW area, is madness right now with all of the pollen in the air. Alright, so Zardar can go nurse, I'm sure, the inevitable hangover he's going to have. And we are off to the final semifinals match. Dang it. Which is, of course, Shetland Apache versus Gojira. Greenskins. So this is the last of the Greenskins. The Greenskins were the most popular army choice, and they've survived up until this point. But the Tomb Kings have already defeated the Greenskins. Is this the beta, Hendrik? No, this is the public live build. I didn't want to mess with the beta in case it has any crashes or any unforeseen issues. It's a beta. All right, chat, I want to see some predictions. Who do y'all think is going to win? Do you think the Tomb Kings are going to cinch it, or do you think the Greenskins are going to claim vengeance for their fallen brothers? Do you think Azhag has what it takes to avenge Wurzag? The Zag brothers? Also, in answer to someone asked earlier what makes this called a tabletop tournament. So what's unique about this tournament is that all of the players had to make their army lists before the tournament started. So they didn't know who they were fighting. They didn't know what the matchups were going to be. They didn't know what maps they were going to play on. They just had to make an army that would be good in potentially any scenario and send it to me. And I secreted all of them away within the vaults beneath my Temple City here in Texas. And now that we're on the day of judgment, I mixed up the roster, and I tell them the maps literally right before the game, and they fight. So the only time they have knowing who their opponent is, what army they're bringing, and what map they're playing on is the deployment phase. Just like on Tabletop. So just to recap the armies again, Gojira's got a pretty elite force here with 2 units of Orc Biggins on the flanks, 2 units of Black Orcs holding up the center line, and a group of Savage Orcs in the dead center providing some sweet non-armor piercing AP. We've got a unit of Savage Orc Error Boys and then the Rusty Errors. We've got a Night Goblin Shaman who has Vindictive Glare and Gorkle Fix-It, along with the Wand of Jet. For his lore, we've got Azhag on his sweet, sweet, precious Wyvern, who's one of the best girls. Skull Muncha. We've got a unit of Nasty Skulkers that will probably be deployed here in the rear line to act as for smoke screen protection. Then we've got a unit of Forest Goblin Spider Riders and the Broken Tusks mob. While way over here on the flanks of deployment, we've got some more Forest Goblin Spider Riders, more Meiji Marauders, Forest Goblin Spider Rider Error Boys. And it looks like Goji is hiding in all the sneaky forests. And then for the Tomb Kings, we've got 5 units of Skeleton Warriors, 2 units of Skeleton Horseman Archers. We've got Setra the Imperishable with just Neru's Incantation of Protection and Joff's Incantation of Cursed Blades. Then we've got 2 units of Ushabti, 2 units of Tombguard with Halberds, and 2 Necrotechs, making a very elite death squad here. And then last but certainly not least are 2 Tomb Scorpions, who are way over here. And without any further ado, let's begin. Seeing a lot of votes for Tomb Kings. And if y'all don't mind, if you're just sitting there enjoying the tournament and you're liking this format, I'd really appreciate it if you consider hitting that like button. Just saying, while we're waiting for these 2 armies to begin their dangerous, the deadly tango. So we're obviously probably going to spend the first minute or 2 here with the armies repositioning. Looks like the Greenskins are aiming to take the high ground from the Tomb Kings. And it looks like the Tomb Kings are answering the call to battle here. Looks like maybe the Tomb Kings will set up on the other hill and maybe they'll try and meet in the center. Not sure. The Tomb Kings do probably think they have the better skirmish engagement right now, since they've got Missile Cav. And especially since Gojira's Missile Cav is way over here. Azhag, not sure what he's doing just yet. He might consider diving down to get some early damage on these Skeleton Warriors, but you can tell Shetland's already wise to that. It's pulling back and defending his units within the range of the Skeleton Horsemen. So if Goji tries to dive in and get some early free damage, ain't gonna be free. So we've got some early shots being fired that'll completely whiff. Goji might be trying to bait out some shooting attacks if these guys have fire at will on, which it looks like they do. Okay, no, he's not baiting. He's just taking it. So what's this? Oh, we got a Gorkle Fix-It, which reduces their speed by 48%. Couple that in with the poison attacks from the Forest Goblin Spider Riders and Skull Muncha, and that is a dead unit. Alright, that unit's gone. I highly doubt they're going to be able to get out of that. Gorkle Fix-It still got 25% of its value left. Maybe they can escape, but I don't know. It's not looking too great. Here we've got more Meiji Marauders and more Spider Riders already firing at the next unit, trying to eliminate all of this shooting, because if Gojira loses, or if Shetland Apache loses all of this shooting, then according to the rules we're using, which are Shetland's rules, he will have to engage, because Gojira will be able to dictate the pace of the battle since he has the only shooting units. That being said, it looks like the Horse Archers are able to kind of escape. Looks like they're kind of turning around here, going after these Forest Goblin Spider Riders along with the Skeleton Warriors, maybe hoping to get a free kill out of that. But Azhag now, with the Archers eliminated, is able to dive down and start getting free kills. This is a really bad situation for the Tomb Kings. They need to get the hell over here, or else they're going to lose probably I'd probably say about 2,000 points of value without a fight. So you can see Setra is already stomping down here, trying to get to the aid of these skeleton horsemen and soldiers. The Greenskins are starting to fall back to the rest of their battle line, but they did get quite a bit of free damage and only lost about half the health on a Forest Goblin Spider Rider unit and about 10% off this unit. And in exchange, they got pretty much an entire unit of Horse Archers and most of a unit of Skeleton Warriors. So now the battle lines are going to be meeting. The Black Orcs are going to be able to run in here and just chop people up with impunity because the Skeleton Warriors are not going to do jack to the Black Orcs. Cetra will be able to do something, but Spirit Leech is already raining down on him. We see the first Realm of Souls has gone off. Archer Fire coming in. He does pop an Overcast Mirror's Incantation of Protection, which will protect him from shooting and melee attacks, but it won't protect him from Azhag's magic because it only provides physical resistance. That being said, the Rusty Arrows are shaving his armor down to 65. He's got to be very careful because those Biggins and, of course, Azhag can actually do a ton of damage to him, though I don't think Azhag will engage. We do see that the Nasty Skulkers are trying to get close enough to use a Smoke Bomb. I don't know if Shetland's going to let that happen. The Tomb Scorpions are running around just trying to do a lot of damage. Neru's Incantation of Protection has worn off, so Cetra no longer has that protecting him. The Broken Tusk Mob rides in, and Wah is popped, so they're going to do a ton of damage on that charge. Cetra needs to be careful and not allow himself to get surrounded. Here we have a Fate of Buna going down on this big old unit of Tomb Guard that's going to do a ton of damage. Fate of Buna, after all, is the great equalizer. There is no spell that does more damage to elite units. The Ushabti summon has already been popped, and it's gone down back here underneath the Rusty Arrows. Azhag dives in against Cetra here while he's still got Wah on his side, and he's got some Black Orcs reinforcing, and man, Azhag just hit him for a ton. Wah is now gone, though, so Azhag does need to be careful. He's not nearly as good of a combatant as Cetra is, and you can already see him getting the hell out of dodge, especially as soon as that Neru's Incantation is popped. For the most part, it's looking pretty good for the Greenskins. Azhag's back up in the air and probably needs to keep bombing Cetra with Spirit Leeches if he's going to win this battle. He needs to get Cetra out of here to eliminate the Tomb King magic. Here, yep, there goes off another Spirit Leech, which once again Cetra has no ability to counter. Cetra cannot be healed by Necrotex because he does not count fully as a construct. He counts as a character. And on top of that, he doesn't have any ability to gain magic damage. That being said, Cetra does catch the Night Goblin Shaman, gets him off the battlefield with a terror check. Of course, he might rally because it's only terror, so as soon as he puts some distance between him and Cetra, he'll rally. The Rusty Arrows did break, but they've already rallied. They're being chased, but sooner or later, these guys are going to disintegrate. Unless those Night Goblins shatter, they're going to be able to come back and keep being an annoyance. Here, the Death Squad of the Tomb Kings is still doing okay. Ooh, Azhag dives in, and that might have been a really fatal mistake. There's a lot of halberds down here, and there's Ushabti and 2 Tomb Scorpions. If Azhag gets stuck, he is dead. Oh, but he does manage to get out, though it looks like he might break briefly. The Tomb Kings definitely have the ranged advantage now. I don't think there's any Skeleton Horseman archers left. Nope. So the Tomb Kings are going to be able to just shoot as much as they want without any concern. Though it looks like they're running out of ammo in a lot of places. Cetra's down to about 25% health. The Black Orcs are still doing pretty good, being at about 50% health. That Fate of Buna was pretty strong earlier, but I almost worry that Goji might have spent too much Winds of Magic trying to get rid of these Tomb Guard with halberds, when it might have been better off just saving his Winds of Magic and just spamming Spirit Leech on Cetra the Imperishable instead, because these Tomb Guard were getting healed by the Realm of Soul procs. So I'm not sure if that was a super efficient use of 19 Winds of Magic. Or isn't it like 22 Winds of Magic? Any event, still a very close game. The Black Orcs are immune to terror, so they will fight until they're broken, either due to being surrounded or from taking casualties. Azhag took a ton of damage that second time he dipped down, so he's not going to be able to have the advantage of swooping in and being able to just fight wherever he wants. He can maybe go after Cetra when he gets Wah back up, but that's probably what he was trying to do, was recharge Wah. The Night Goblin is hiding in the forest over here, acting as a magic battery, just popping Wand of Jet as much as he can. And things are looking really bad for the Greenskins. Most of their army has fallen apart, their leadership structure is starting to fail, and Cetra still has a ton of health left. Still has 2,500 health. I don't think the Greenskins have what it takes to burst through the rest of that health, because even if they did, there's still 2 almost full health Tomb Scorpions, 2 full health Necrotex. I mean, this is just a brutal Tomb King army that Cetra brought to this tournament. This is kind of a really good depiction of an all-comers list. I can't wait to see how it's going to do against the Vampire Coast, because I just don't think the Greenskins have enough armor piercing and enough raw damage to deal with what's left. I mean, there are a couple of units rallying around, but Cetra is just so powerful. There's still 2 units of Tomb Guard here. They don't have a lot of health, but they're still there, and Azhag's very quick on foot, but he's not quick enough to he's quick enough to outrun this, but he, sooner or later he's going to get forced to be grounded. Oh, no! Oh, no! The Vindictive Glare gets juked by Cetra. He just dodges it. He just turned aside so he could charge the Goblin at just the wrong moment, and it just completely whiffed. That's what, 4 or 5 winds of magic just gone down the drain. Oh, that is rough. Azhag does dive in here on one of the Tomb Scorpions, which he can win that engagement if left alone, but unfortunately the instant he always comes on the ground, those Tomb Kinks are going to be right on him. I mean, he's doing a ton of damage to that Scorpion, but now it's turned around. The other one's going to be able to get a charge in, and Cetra's, ooh, where's X hustling? He's hustling. Okay, he's out. But like I said, don't think the Greenskins have what it takes to deal with all of this. I mean, sure, Azhag can Azhag by purely diving could probably kill maybe Cetra and maybe the Tomb Scorpions, but the Halberds and the double Necrotex, no way. And there we go. Army losses is kicked in, and with that, the Greenskins are out. They put up a noble battle, but unfortunately, the Greenskins, despite being the most popular faction today, just were not able to bring home the gold. Great game between Goji and Shetland Apache, though. Great game. Alright, and with that, we are off to the finals. Hendrik, my voice hurts too much to sing today. Alright, so we're off to the finals. And the battle is at Averheim. The final battle. And we'll give Shetland just a minute to kind of relax. See, feel free to take a sec or a minute, but start when ready. All right, so we are on to the finals. And not only did the Greenskins not make it to the finals, but the finals are the only 2 undead players we have. The Vampire Coast versus the Tomb King. So we have the driest, dustiest undead versus the grossest, wettest undead. It's a battle of the different calibers of wetness. Not two sides of the scale. Arrows versus gunpowder. Bones versus rotting flesh. Who will win? Alright, chat. I gotta see predictions. Who do y'all think's gonna win? Put in your bets. Put in your bets. Yeah, Pappy Nagash is proud wherever he's wandering in the abyss. Boop. And okay. I'm actually seeing some disagreements in the chat on this. I'm seeing a lot of Vampire Coast. A little bit. I'm seeing a little less support for Shetland than Turin, but yeah, the deck droppers will definitely be hard for Shetland to deal with. Misha, you can't time people out for that. Zach, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? What armies other than orcs and these 2 undead were played? Lizardmen. See, there was Lizardmen. There were 2 Skaven. And there was... Wait, Lizardmen, 2 Skaven, 1, 2, 3 Greenskins, and then 2 different undead. We had a lot of Greenskins and Skaven. Alright, and Shetland's just kind of taking a moment to, you know, grab some water and stuff, and as soon as he's back, we shall begin. Pansy Man, no, it's a tabletop themed tournament, but it's not actual tabletop just yet. Sorry, Pap, I failed the old ones. Ryan? How did you fail the old ones? The great plan is difficult to discern. We all can only do our part. Am I disappointed with how the Lizardmen fared? No, they put up a good fight. That's all that matters to me. Alright, Shetland's ready. Let's do this! Into the finals! Oh, you're Falcon. Falcon, you put up a great fight, brother. You put up a great fight. It was just not meant to be. Yeah, Thornstein, undead are very strong. I was hoping to see I was hoping to actually see like dwarves in one of the matchups, because I don't know, I feel like the really strong melee dwarf armies can do really well against terror causers. Oh, and you're Taco. Oh, okay, everybody's here. All right, well, here we go. We are in Averheim. What the fudge? This is not Averheim. What the heck? I even checked this one. Why are we here? Whatever this works. I don't know how we got here. This map's still fine. Well, we get an island battle. Okay. Yeah. This map seems fine. I mean, this map's terrain is fine. Okay, I don't know how we got to a smoking dragon skull volcano mountain island in the snow with various Norskin and elven themed iconography, but here we are. Apparently, Khorne, the god of murder, has ripped us out of the Empire and thrown us into another realm for this final battle. It's the only way. Alright, just a quick reminder, Turin's army is 3 deck droppers, 4 units of zombie deckhand mob, 2 units of depth guard, traditional depth guard, 2 units of zombie pirate deckhand mob with polearms, 1 unit of handguns, the black spot regiment for now, 2 units of scurvy dogs, up against 2 tomb scorpions, 2 skeleton horseman archers, the death squad of 2 halberds, 2 shopti, 2 necrotechs. Oh gosh, and we are just out of the gates. And then he's got Cetra the Imperishable, Count Noctilus on his big old thing, and 5 units of Skeleton Warriors. Alright, so the Scurvy Dogs were in a really bad place, but managed to get the hell out of there before they took too much damage. Though these archers might be able to put some shots in them, but... Ooh! Oh, a beautiful side shot from Count Noctilus, killing 13 horse with 1 stone. Well, 4 stones that he fired simultaneously, but you get the point. Oh, that was a beautiful early game shot. Alright, so the skeleton horseman archers are actually probably the most important part of Shetland's army. He has to keep them safe, quite frankly, because that is his only way to counter the deck droppers, other than just getting the deck droppers to expend their ammo. I would also say Neru's Incantation of Protection is probably going to be a really important spell here to just try, like, if he could get that spell off while Turin's distracted and have the deck droppers keep firing into him, that's the only realistic way he's going to be able to mitigate their damage. But in the meantime, the basic Tomb King army is heading for the really base. So this is kind of a battle of the bad. Of course, these Depth Guard will do plenty good chopping these Skeleton Warriors down to size, especially with a rear charge from some Scurvy Dogs. But anywhere where the zombies are connecting, that's not going to be the greatest of battles. Okay, see here, the Fellbats are being used to try and hold down the skeleton horseman archers, so they're not able to do super well. But they are putting a hurt on the deck droppers. Cetra is taking a fair amount of damage, though it looks like he was killing a bat or something. Looks like the Fellbats, for the most part, are dead, and some Scurvy Dogs are almost dead. These Horse Archers did take quite a bit of damage, though, and Noctilus is just going to be ho-ho-hoing his way for the holiday season across this snowy battlefield and just doing tons of damage. He's already put quite a bit of hurt on these Ushabti. Here comes down a... Oh, it looked like there was going to be a Wraith Storm, but I guess not. Wait, no, it's coming back. I like to always call this the Death Eater spell because it looks like the Death Eater thing from Harry Potter. If you watch the fourth movie. Okay, back here, Cetra is already down to half health. He is getting absolutely massacred by all this shooting. He does pop an Overcast Incantation of Protection, which is going to give him 44% physical resistance, topped with his 15. So right now he's cranking 59% resistance to this damage, but it's still hitting him so hard. And I just don't think there's a way for Shetland to avoid it. Like, he doesn't have any Ushabti with great bows. He doesn't have any skeleton archers. Like, there's just nothing he can do here. The Ushabti summon has already been procced, and it's going up underneath the regular gunnery mod to try and take them offline. Cetra is down to about 30% of his max health. The Scorpions are riding dirty over here to try and maybe get into this combat and turn the tide. The best thing I think Cetra can do is maybe get involved in a big combat, so at least when he's being shot at, he's mobile and moving around and he's harder to hit. And maybe some of the shots will do friendly fire instead. But especially with Noctilus just constantly popping off shots, I almost wonder if it'd be worth dedicating a Tomb Scorpion to go fight Noctilus just to keep him busy so he's not shooting. But the Black Spot, I mean, Cetra's going to charge in here, but the Black Spot's going to be able to hurt him a lot in close combat. He does cast Overcast Incantation Protection on himself, but he miscasts, so he takes a bunch of magic damage. This is not looking good. The Tomb Kings do win this engagement over here, but I don't think it's enough. The deck droppers have exhausted about 50% of their ammo. Ugh, this is looking pretty rough. Yeah, I was surprised by a lot of the army picks. There were no Beastmen, no Warriors of Chaos, no Dark Elves, no Wood Elves, no Dwarves. A lot of those seemed like obvious picks, I would think. Alright, Cetra's down to about 500 health. At this point, he's just trying to exhaust as much of Turin's ammo as he can. And down goes Cetra the Imperishable. Meanwhile, it is raining poison smoke here. The Tomb Kings are not quite out of it yet. They do still have 2 full health Tomb Scorpions, along with 2 beefy units of Ushabti. And Turin does not have a super efficient way of killing the Ushabti. I mean, the only thing he really has are these deckhand mobs with polearms, but those aren't going to do anything to a lot of these units. He needs his guns to do all the heavy lifting, but these Necrotechs are going to be able to spam heal, and they might be... Are they providing the missile resistance buff? Let's look. They have Wrath of the Creator. Yep. So all these units are running a plus 10 armor, plus 10% missile resistance, and the Van Braces of the Sun are helping as well by lowering the melee attack of all nearby units. So right now it just comes down to kind of this horde of Tomb King elite units can survive the onslaught of guns. But they gotta take out the Black Spot. If the Black Spot are not dealt with, then their shooting attacks are easily going to be enough to wipe out what's left of the Tomb King army. The Tomb Kings do not have enough elite troops to get away with that. I mean, Noctilus is almost out of ammo, so while he is a priority target, I don't think he's that big of a priority target, in my honest opinion. I think it would be better to just focus all hands on dealing with these handgun units to get them off the battlefield and out of the way. That being said, the balance of power is still even, just because the Vampire Coast, or the Tomb Kings have such elite units. Tomb Scorpions, right now they're still caught up on a bunch of summoned units. Tomb Guard are trying to do what they can. It looks like maybe he's finally going after the handguns. Yeah, now he's going after the handguns, but the deck droppers at this point have already repositioned so that they can shoot down into this battle. And Turin's got some really nice crossfire coming in from the Black Spot. You know, funny enough, I think if Shetland had immediately sent his entire army directly at Turin, along with Cetra, because all of those shooting attacks were coming in at Cetra regardless. It might have been better to just go at the Vampire Coast like whole hog with everything he's got right at the beginning. That way Turin would have had less time to do all this damage with his shooting attacks. But, you know, that's literally a spur in the moment thing, and what makes this tournament so hard is you don't really have time to think that much about how you're going to counter your opponent until you're on the battlefield. So Noctilus has only got... Noctilus has still got 5 shots yet. Alright, one of the Scorpions is down. Man, those cannons hurt. Oh, God, my throat hurts. I'm not used to talking this much for this long. Down comes another Race Storm, which is going to do quite... Oh, wow, that did 800 damage to the Tomb Guard. Balance of Power is starting to swing in Turin's favor. Deck Droppers are running out of ammo, but the only thing left are 2 Necrotechs and a Tomb Scorpion, and I think they're out of restores. Oof. And Noctilus has still got 3 shots left in that cannon, and they're still... Oh, and he just summoned a new gunnery mob. Yep. That looks like game. Overall... Oh, excuse me. I just had to stretch there. Very, very solid game. I actually thought the Tomb Kings were turning it around really heavily for a moment, but those deck droppers, man, they're just so damn good. It's probably for the best that they're being significantly debuffed. Yep, and there's army losses. So they are all now disintegrating. What a great game, a series of games. And that concludes our tournament. Thanks everybody for coming by. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Congratulations to Turin for being the first champion of the Sotek's Tabletop Tournament. This tournament is, of course, an experiment, and we will be trying out different forms of it in different formats as we go into the future. In any event, congratulations to Turin. Thanks to everyone who participated and played today, so thank you. Thanks, of course, to Turin for coming out and joining us. Also, thank you to Falcon, Flying Taco, Gojira, Professor Pone. Thanks to Shetland Apache, our runner-up. And then thanks to Zardoz, Exploding Hamster, and, of course, Shadow Online Gaming. If you haven't already, I would heavily suggest you check out those guys who have channels. For instance, I know Shadow Online Gaming and Turin have YouTube channels, of course. I know if any of these other guys have channels, feel free to plug yourselves. Did I say Professor Pone? I thought I didn't, but maybe I did. Pone was our backup. So thanks, Pone, for being our backup. And with no further ado, that's it for today. If you guys are bored and want to chat with me, I'm actually about to head over to Black Iron's YouTube channel, Black Iron, because he's playing some Blood Bowl, so I'm going to go watch that. But thank you guys all for participating. I'll be going back through this footage and watching it and trying to determine how I feel about this later. And if you guys really enjoyed this tournament, I would really appreciate if y'all would, if you're a subscriber on my channel, on the community tab, I will be putting up a poll later tonight that'll like try and collect people's opinions who watched the tournament. Like, did you think it was fun? Did you like the format? You know, stuff like that. And of course, I'll be talking to the participants as well. So thank you all for watching. I'm signing off for now. I can already tell I'm not going to have a voice tomorrow. This is good. This is good practice for me getting in the habit of talking for long periods of time. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I'm going to go eat dinner now. I'm starving. All right. Good night, guys. Thanks for coming. And now I will click on this. And we'll play some music on the outro.